go. And all at once, up stood the lion, and all the animals moved back a foot. And the lion stretched and looked at all of them and said, "Well, it looks as if I'll have to go. It's always the same. If you want a job done right, ask a lion. Oh, you little animals, you stay here. I'll be back." And so the proud and confident lion padded over the mountain, down to the other side, and into the great palace made of grass. And there still sat that chief. And the lion trotted up and asked, "Oh, chief, as one king to another, what's the name of the magical tree, the one on the other side of the mountain?" The chief looked at the proud lion and said, "The name of that tree is Owongelemo." "Owongelemo, yes, Owongelemo." "Why, thank you," said the lion, and he padded over the mountain and down the other side. But the wind was blowing. And the sun was hot on his great back, and he saw a little bush, and underneath it an inviting circle of cool shade. And the lion thought, why not? So he took a nap. An hour later he awoke, and he went to beneath the tree. By now the animals were 3 times as hungry and 3 times as thirsty, and they saw him and they said, "Look, it's the lion. Do you know the name?" He looked at all of them and said, "Of course I know the name. Owungele Tambale Bamba." Was that it? No. But he was a lion, so he roared it again, twice as loudly. But roar though he did, he was incorrect, and not a single fruit would fall. The animals threw up their hoofs, they threw up their paws. They thought they were all going to perish. When, from between their feet, they heard a tiny voice. I will go." They all looked down. Who said that? Who said that? Down here." And they all looked way down, and there on the ground was a dusty little tortoise with his head poking from his turtle shell. I will go." You're too small. You're too slow." "I will go anyway." And so he turned. But before leaving the animals, he went to his mother, and he asked her, "Mother, how do I remember a name?" And she looked and said, "You say it to yourself over and over." "Thank you!" And off he went. And in the time that it had taken the kudu to reach the mountain, he'd only gone a couple of feet. And in the time that it had taken the zebra to reach that palace made of grass, he'd only gone a few more feet. And in the time it had taken the lion to cross the mountain, learn the name, cross it again, fall asleep, and forget, the little tortoise was only halfway to the mountain. But he did not stop. And many days later, he reached the top of the mountain, and he looked down. Whoa! But he kept on going. Many more days passed, and at last, tired and dusty, he came crawling into the great palace made of grass. And there still sat that chief, and the little tortoise called up to him. Chief? Who said that? Down here. Oh, little tortoise, what do you want? Chief, what's the name of the magical tree on the other side of the mountain? The chief had heard this question plenty of times, and so replied, "For the last time, the name of that tree is Owongelemo."
Uwungelema?
Yes, Uwungelema.
Thank you!
And off he went. And remembering his mother's words, he began to say that name to himself over and over again.
Uwungelema. Uwungelema.
He got to the top of the mountain.
Whoa! Uwungelema.
He arrived at the bottom of the mountain and he heard something off in the rocks.
Ooh, water. Mustn't stop. Uwungelema.
He walked right beneath the root that had tripped the mighty zebra.
Whoa. Uwungelema.
It was hot in his little shell, and the sun shone, and the wind blew, and he saw the inviting circle of cool shade. But he thought to himself,
Oh, no, the animals. Uwungelema.
Well, at last he reached the magical tree. By now, all the animals lay against it. But one of them saw him coming and said, Oh, look who's here. Do you know the name? And he looked up into the branches and he said,
Yup. Uwungelema.
And all at once, down fell a huge fruit and it splashed open and the animals looked up. And down fell another one and the animals jumped up. And suddenly, fruits were falling everywhere. Well, the animals jumped up. They drank the water, they ate the food, and all of them were saved. And so they made that little tortoise their chief, not because he was big, and not because he was fast, but because he could remember. So, do you remember the name of that tree?